Good morning, everybody. If it is Monday, it is Money Mondays. My name is Paul Johnson. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development here at GPCOG, and I'm here with,
Belinda Ray, the Director of Strategic Partnerships here at GPCOG.
yay, and we're so glad to be back. We've had a 2 week vacation, we haven't seen everybody for almost 3 weeks now, and I'm excited to be back. So with that, I will start us with the Maine Tourism Marketing Partnership. Next slide, Belinda. It has like everything else, it has a super easy to use acronym, MTMPP. Um, so I'm bringing this up today for two reasons. One, the deadline's pretty quick. I think the deadline for all three of these I'm going to show you today is November 12th. So it's a pretty quick impending deadline, but I poked around on the application. It's pretty straightforward. So I think it's totally worth staff time or organization time to check it out if you have not already. There are three different grants, as you will see up here on the screen, and they're geared towards different organizations. So you'll see some are Chamber of Commerce, community groups, nonprofits, and localized tourism initiatives. And then there's also, like, if you look at the far right of your screen, is that the right of your screen or the left of your screen? Left to right of your screen. It is also for established festivals, right? So if you're a town that has something fun annual event that you do every year or you want to do every year, this grant is for next calendar year. So it starts in January and runs for 12 months. And you'll see there's some meat on the bone. The first grant there is pretty small, 2,500 to $5,000, but the other ones go to 30 and $60,000. So if you are one of our member communities or listening and tourism is something that you are constantly trying to improve, this is a great opportunity for you to check it out. Again, deadline's pretty quick, November 12th, but it looks like a relatively easy lift if you can dedicate some staff time to the application process. And as always, on the next slide, there's the application page, and there will be more information for you. So I encourage you to check it out. And if it doesn't relate particularly to your position, again, if you have any sort of tourism business, any sort of organization in town, those qualify for this as well.
So we're working in threes today because mine also has three grants. I'm looking at the Casco Bay Estuary Partnership Fall 2025 Resilience and Monitoring Grants. So Casco Bay Estuary Partnership is a partnership and they focus on the health of Casco Bay. And they've done a lot of projects, but the partners you'll see here, GPCOG is a partner. You see City of Portland, City of South Portland. So we're well represented here. And they've done quite a bit over the many years they've been working on protecting the health of Casco Bay. You can see the acres of habitat protected, alewife returned to the Presumpscot River run. They've done 60 marsh restoration projects, 5 reports, lots of grants awarded, and they've been monitoring the water quality for 26 years. So now they have this grant available, 3 options. The first one is called Resilient Communities, and this is about planning or doing engagement work to strengthen your community. So this could be you're working on your comp plan and you have some chapters that are specifically about community resilience. This money could help fund those. Climate vulnerability assessments, updating ordinances, design charrettes for a particularly vulnerable neighborhood, or some engagement activities. This is a very short list. There are many more things you could do. This is not all inclusive. So that's the first one. The second one is called Resilient Habitats, and this is about actually restoring or enhancing aquatic habitats. So that might be installing some culverts, doing site assessments, engineering design work, dam removal, or they like new methods to build resilience. If you have something new, innovative that you want to try, this is a good grant for that. And then the third one is monitoring infrastructure. So this is to help increase the ability to collect information to keep Casco Bay healthy. So this might be field equipment, it might be lab equipment, it might be supporting a new collaboration to do monitoring work, and it might be expanding an existing program. So you can find out more about all of those and what they exactly encompass in the RFP. The people that are eligible are 501c3s, obviously municipalities, states, counties, road or lake associations. They encourage collaborative proposals. For-profit entities cannot be the lead applicant, but they can be a partner. But one of the most important things, the service area for what you're planning to do for the grant has to be within the Casco Bay watershed. And you can see that includes the majority of our region. There are priority populations. Now, this does not mean you won't get a grant if you don't tick any of these boxes. What it means is you get extra points if you do tick some of these boxes. So smaller, rural, low income, working waterfront, all of those extra points. Winners from the previous year, you'll see all of these, and you'll see that City of Portland received one. So clearly you don't have to have a small rural community. You can tick other boxes, or you might just get the grant on your own merits. But here are a bunch of the winners, and I have another page of the winners so that you can check and see what kinds of projects did receive funding. And then we will do what we always do and just talk about the key features. So each of the grants is up to $25,000. There is not a match required, but they do always like to see if you have other funds going toward a project, because then they can see, okay, this is not something you just thought up in case you get a grant. This is something you really want to do or you're planning for. So that helps. They won't add points for having a match, but it certainly does demonstrate the feasibility of your project. So you do not pass go if you're not working in the Casco Bay watershed. So look at that first. They're looking at a 12-month timeline for your project, and you have to start no later than January 1st of 2026 and end no later than December 31st. So you can start a little earlier and end a little earlier, or end by December 31st, but you can't go past December 31st. There's 195,000 available, probably 8 to 10 awards within this region. So those are pretty good odds. The difficulty is a 3. Now, this is a 2-step application process. There's a pre-application that happens first. That is due by October 31st. It's pretty easy to fill out. You do that first, and then they let you know if you should develop a full proposal. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to do the full-on grant work if they don't think it's a project that might get funding. So pre-application due by October 31st. Full application if you get invited by December 5th, and they do intend to notify people by November 7th. So you would have about a month to do that full proposal, and they will help you. So that's why it's a 3. You do the pre-app, not that hard, and then there's assistance if you do the full app. So I have a link to the RFA here. There was a webinar on October 15th that you can view. The pre-application form is linked there, so you can take a look and see what's involved. There are office hours coming up this week and next week, so you can get help with your application. This is not a deep dive into your particular project and how it might work. This is about filling out the application. So they'll answer short questions in these office hours. And if you need assistance, you can talk to Natalie Bingham. Now, I had one more thing to talk about today, and that is an update on the Maine Trails program. You remember this is the first year of a big grant that is going to be annual for the next, I think it goes through 2030 or until the money is spent. So they received 105 applications looking for 16.7 million. There's 7.5 million available this year. There were applications from all over the state, which is wonderful. This is something that happens over and over. So they're expecting to announce these awards in November this year, and then the next round will open in June of next year. So if you applied and you don't get an award, you can put it back in next year. If you didn't apply, but you're thinking about it, you can see who got funded and start thinking about planning your application for 2026. So that is what we have today. We'll stop the share. Stop the share. And that is that, folks. Paul, did you want to tell any stories from your your
Although,
time away?
no, but I will say I spent last week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the Maine Development Foundation. There's a program called Leadership Maine, and I was put on a bus in Ellsworth, Maine on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. So I left my house at 4 a.m. Went up to Ellsworth
Whew,
and I spent 3 days touring the down east Maine. So you can imagine
cool.
it was lots of aquaculture, the world's largest clam farm, the Passamaquoddy tribe, Reefs Across America. So all sorts of DEI, so Down East Institute, all sorts of cool stops, learned a ton, 4 different stops every day. And as I was telling Belinda before we went live on air, there is a story where I ended up hitchhiking on Saturday morning back to the tour bus at 6:45 in the morning in Machias, Maine. And the good news is here I am. I made it. I'm alive. I got on the tour bus, and I'll let everybody else fill in the details. It's more fun, I think, when the imagination can take over.
I already got a story. I've already got a story going.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All
Um,
right. Well, excellent. I'm glad you had a good time. It's definitely very educational. I did one
yeah,
last year and you did Eastern Maine. I did Western Maine. It was also
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
You learn a tremendous amount about our state that you don't, that's kind of out of sight, out of mind until you're in the middle of it. So
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we will see you next Monday. We are here. This was our first October, but we are
it
here for
was.
the rest of
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
So we'll see you soon. Have a great week. Take care.
Ah.
Bye.